Online. I see. Okay, thank you. We're recording now. And Carl, can you hear us?
I can.
Great. Welcome.
Thank you.
All right. Let it record show that 5:35, Director Miller joined us. Um, okay. Carl, any announcements or communications from your end?
Puerto Rico is lovely.
Excellent. All right. Uh, Seeing no public comment, we'll close public comment, move to the consent agenda. The consent agenda are those items which are routine and can be approved uh, as a batch. Does anyone in the public wish to comment on any items on the consent agenda? Seeing no one online and no one here wishing to public comment, we'll close public comment. Um, Any member of the board wish to pull or discuss a item on consent?
Mr. Chair, I'd move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second. Okay. Denise, you get the first and the second?
Yes, Director Amati,
Aye.
Director Gagletti,
Aye.
Director Leffel,
Yes.
Director Miller,
Yes.
and Chair Pick.
Yes, thank you. All right, consent agenda passes unanimously. A deferred consent agenda. There are no items under deferred consent. We'll move to the regular agenda action items. Item G1, the Brown Act 2026 edition. Scott, over to you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the Brown Act was recently amended. And among the amendments to them, there are two categories of amendments. Those that apply to all public agencies and those that apply to eligible public agencies. And I'll give you the spoiler alert. You are not one of the eligible agencies, and you're glad, and you should be glad that you're
Right.
not, because any public agency with more than like any city or county with more than 30,000 residents has a bunch of additional requirements that they have to jump through. But however, having said that, one of the requirements that apply to all legislative bodies, for whatever reason the legislature made this change, you must receive a printed copy of the Brown Act. In today's technological age, with people doing things remotely and online, and with, I mean, I can find any number of probably a dozen or more websites that have a printed copy of the Brown Act online. In the infinite wisdom of the legislature, and I say that with somewhat tongue in cheek, they decided they wanted every elected official to have a printed copy of it. So we made the decision, we're just gonna print them, and as you'll see inside there are some, some little pop-out windows on the side. Sure enough, I mentioned that, now I can't find one immediately. They're in sort of a gold color.
Yep.
It'll give you sort of a highlight of, or a summary of what, that page talks about, but, and Director Miller, I
101
have
for
your-
dummies.
Sorry?
101 for dummies.
Sort of, sure. But Director Miller, I have your printed copy and I will give that to you, and I'll leave it here at the airport, and as soon as you return, we'll get it to you. But the other thing I want to point out for you, there are some social media requirements. If you have a social media page, and again, I want to put this into two categories. What I recommend, if you're going to post items related to your elected position, I recommend you have an official elected, like, director, airport director page. And that you also have a personal page. And the reason why is this: the FPPC has been going after, maybe that's kind of a harsh term, but they've been making examples of some elected officials who are blocking constituents who post negative comments on their page. And what they're saying is, you can't do that at a meeting. You have to listen to whatever the public wants to say, good, bad, or indifferent. It's no different on your Facebook page, but they are saying if you have a personal page that is only for personal items and you don't post, elected official related stuff or, airport related stuff in this instance, as you're all airport elected official board members, then you can block people and you can restrict who's on that page because that's a private page. So if you're going to have one, I'm not suggesting you should or shouldn't, but if you do, I highly recommend you have one for private matters, one for elected official matters. And the one for elected official matters, you can, by the way, they have ruled, you can make it so that you can post things and no one can comment on it. Or you can open it up for anyone to comment on it. But what you can't do is restrict some and allow others. You can't pick and choose. The other thing I want you to be aware of, and I'll use just hypothetically speaking, if one board member were to post something and another board member were to like it, you now have delved into Brown Act violation territory.
Mhm.
Because you're suggesting I'm in favor of that by liking it or making a comment on it. Even I've even seen, and the jury is still out on this one as to how the FPP is going to handle it. But they have begun an enforcement action on someone I'm aware of who made a comment. One elected official posted about an agenda item. And another elected official on that same body commented on it. It'll be interesting to hear, the public's comments on this matter tonight. Didn't take a side. They have begun an enforcement action. We'll see where it comes down. There was no, opinion given. It'll be interesting to see. Now, whether we agree with that or disagree with that, the purpose for the warning is I'd like you all to not be the example or the poster child that the FPPC decides to utilize for one of their enforcement actions as they're trying to navigate this new area. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Even if you have questions, in the future, as you set up your, social media or what have you, happy to give you the whatever the status of the law is. But anyway, those are the major ones. There are some related to disability accommodations for elected officials. And we can, again, if those issues come up, we can talk about it. Another one is related to members of the public recording meetings. That really isn't a change. They have been able to record meetings on their own, but they just can't disrupt the meeting or disturb the meeting. Like by using floodlights, because they want to get like a good camera shot for the news or something. But anyway, so there has not been a lot of changes that will apply to this agency, but the ones I just mentioned are the big ones, and the others we'll deal with if it comes up.
Terrific. Thank you.
You bet.
Appreciate that. Open it up for public comment. Any public comment? No, sir? I see no public online, right? Okay, we'll close public comment. Board, questions, comments? Jonathan? The Nike swish, just do it.
So the legislature demands that we're giving a paper copy of it.
Yeah.
Does it also demand that that we read it? Is that
Well,
explicitly said in the statute?
I have tried to figure out what's the logic behind this. I think I've maybe hit on it. There are an awful lot of enforcement actions where the elected official will say, I had no idea that was a rule. And so I think now what they want to say is, well, did you read the copy you were given? Because I know you were given a copy because you had to. Right. So I think they're trying to get the water to the end of the road, so to speak. Right. And that's I think the logic behind it. Now, whether there's that saying, ignorance of the law is no excuse.
Yeah, right.
That applies here as well. And I don't know.
I have no other comments.
Okay, thank you. Marianne,
No comment.
John. Carl, any questions or comments?
No, I agree with Scott. That's exactly why they're giving these. We did the same thing with the personnel manual. You give them a copy, you make them sign that they've received it and they're responsible.
Yep. Okay. Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Item G2 for action, LAFCO ballot selection for one alternate special district representatives. So we have two applications in our packet here for consideration. I guess before we start discussing this too much, again, let me open it up for public comment on this issue. Okay, thank you. We'll close public comment, bring it back to staff. Any comments on this? Okay. All right. Team, what's your pleasure?
I make a motion that we choose David Kong as our alternate member for the seat.
Okay.
R.O. Miller seconds.
Okay. We have a first and a second for Kong. Under discussion, any comments or thoughts about either candidate as it relates to the motion? Okay. Then roll call, please.
Director Amati,
Aye.
Director Gagliardi,
Aye.
Director Laffel,
Yes,
Director Miller,
Yes,
Chair Pick.
Yes, thank you. All right, on to item G3, resolution number 1923, a resolution accepting the guaranteed maximum price number 4 from Hensel Phelps Construction for the Safety Enhancement Program Taxiway A relocation Phase D2 replacement terminal construction.
mouthful.
Whew. Ma'am.
That caffeine helped.
Yes.
Yeah. Who's gonna make the motion?
So, yes, in front of you, you have the fourth GMP from Hensel Phelps, which we were anticipating that we would be receiving. Also, we were anticipating that this GMP would include reductions to GMPs 1, 2, and 3 for value engineering that we had been doing with the contractors that have been contracted through those GMPs. So that value engineering is a deduction of 3,304,863. So this final GMP is a not to exceed of 12,442,012 for a total not to exceed contract cost of $98,770,401. So this is within the framework of what we've been working with on our plan of finance. So we had in our plan of finance a not to exceed of 99 million. So we are right under that. This also has in it, some construction manager reserve for items that possibly could come up along the way, because they are taking on the risk of this project at that cost. So there is a reserve in there for items that they might not have fully vetted. They haven't submitted their documents to Hensel Phelps for approvals. So there could be some changes in the product that they want to do, or some changes in the way they're interpreting the contract. So that would be covered under those costs. But if those costs aren't used, then they come back to they will come back to us at the back end. So there is some flexibility a little bit in here, and also their GMP fee is based on the actual construction cost as well. So if the construction cost comes down, then the GMP will come down as well. The GMP fee will be reduced by that 4% as well. So again, we're very comfortable with where we are here with this. We were waiting on the last few procurements, which included so this last GMP has the doors, frames, and hardware, acoustical ceilings and panels, tiling, flooring, the terrazzo, the window shades, really the finishes is what we're really looking at here, the paint and wall coverings, joint sealants, signage, building specialties, pavement markings. So this, part of what's included in there is to do the final couple panels of the ramp, because we left short on the ramp project so that they could construct because they needed to get in there, get in the foundations, and then do the last couple panels. And then they have to go back and do all the markings for where the aircraft will park. So that is included in this as well. The system that will be our common use system, and that was really the last one that we were waiting on, is the technology and the system that will be how passengers will be checked in, will be boarded, will print their boarding passes, will go up to the kiosks, et cetera. So that was one of the last components we were waiting on, as well as final cleaning and furniture. So those are the last components that were included in this last GMP of $12 million. So happy to answer any other questions or things that I haven't covered that you might want to inquire about. But with that, we'd ask that you consider resolution number 1923.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thanks, Chris. Okay, let's go out to the public. Any comment on this item? No, sir? Okay. Seeing no public online, let's bring it back in, close public comment and bring it back in for questions. Carl, do you want to start us off? Any questions or comments on this matter?
No, I don't. That was good news on that final number.
Sure was. Thank you. John?
I echo that. I did have one question. It was just kind of raised right here, and that is on the kiosk system. That right now, all the kiosk systems or those check-in systems are individual, right? Are they not? They're all proprietary to the carriers. This will now be a unified system.
It'll be a universal system, correct? So they'll have a code. The airline, you go up to it and you'll be able to pick your airline
Yeah.
and then check yourself in.
Okay.
So yes, it'll be universal across the tickets, the kiosks, and the gates. So any airline can be at any gate at any given moment, depending on how operations decides to assign them to them.
Is there an interface now with the individual carriers for them to participate in that, or is that a
We will be providing that system to them, and then it will be incorporated into our rates and charges fees when we get there as a cost associated with them doing business in the new terminal.
Okay.
So we will provide all of the infrastructure, all of the support, as well as all of the product, whether if people need to print boarding passes or
Yeah.
boarding bag tags and things like that. So we'll be taking on that responsibility, but it will also get built then back into our rates and charges, which will look very different next year when we
Yeah.
get there.
No, I get that. Do they have do the carriers have an opportunity to opt out, or do they? Yeah. Okay.
Yep. And they've all known this is coming.
Yeah.
It is part of a lease agreement that we'll have with them, which they've been reviewing.
Yeah.
We've had multiple calls with them already, and we are now setting up bi-monthly calls with the airlines. And as we get a little bit closer, we'll move them to monthly.
Mhm.
But they totally understand that this was coming, and they actually had provided us some input on some of the vendors that were better than others.
Yeah. I mean, this had been done elsewhere, so I'm guessing. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for all that. That's all. That was all just for my own
Thank you.
information. But yeah.
You bet. Good, John. Marianne?
I had a question similar is, do they pay then at the end of the month based on how many people used it?
The way rates and charges will work in the future, the way we've been talking about this a lot, and this is something we've been putting into, it's in the draft agreement that they've been reviewing. It's going to be a per passenger fee.
Yeah, that's what I was asking.
So a global per passenger fee for everything, because remember, we're adding passenger boarding bridges. It's a common use or a common use, so to speak, hold room.
Yeah.
Where you have that great room instead of the only thing that will be proprietary in the new structure to each airline will be the office space that they lease. So there is office space downstairs that's available to them, but the methodology will be completely different. So almost like a PFC charge,
Okay.
that idea.
Okay. And then we talked in finance about the wellheads. And if you wanted to just talk about what the wellhead, because that was a reduction.
Yes. So initially we were thinking when we built the well over at the 2801 property, which is now being used for the QTA, they are 100% on well water, not non-potable well water, not on Caliam anymore. We also had anticipated we might be able to use that well for the terminal for non-potable, but we've been told we cannot. We are still bringing blue pipe to the building, so the building will still be plumbed out for a second water source. But at the moment, we can't use that water to support the terminal. So we decided not to put that equipment in, the additional equipment into the wellhead at this time, because it would just sit there. It's pumps that need to be used all the time or they're going to freeze. So that was taken off the table. It will possibly be smaller equipment that will go in, but for the landside component of it, because we believe we can still use it for landscaping out in the parking lot. So there will be some infrastructure that'll go in, but it will be pushed off onto the landside projects, which are different costs and different cost components that we have.
Good. Marianne?
I think that's all I had. I just have to say, I know the staff in Hensel Phelps did a tremendous job to keep reducing and looking for ways to save money. And my hat's off to all of you, because that's a lot of hard work to keep going back and looking at it and whittling away at it. And the number is phenomenal from where we started. So,
We started at 106.
Right.
yeah.
And, they were able to get it down, initially, and then bring on their contractors and bring it down even further. And we still anticipate there might be some savings that we can find here a little bit more as we go forward. But-
Yeah. Well, thank you. And thank you to Hensel Phelps for working on it. So far, it has really validated who we chose as our general contractor. They've done a terrific job. So that's all.
Thank you. Jonathan?
Yeah, a couple things. So, first, in terms of the 3 million value engineering changes, would it be possible to get a summary highlight of what those changes were to get to that 3 million?
It's listed there. If you look, it's the red.
Where was it?
It's on each page where it's
On each
got the
page-
red.
On page, the first page of the Hensel Phelps.
See, that's how I had the wellheads, because I was like, what are the wellheads?
So there was reduction in plumbing, reduction in steel framing, reduction in below grade waterproof.
So it wasn't that there were changes to the designs to get to the value engineering. It was that
There were slight changes to some design here and there. Yes, there were.
so that's what I was
Mhm.
asking for, is where there were design changes, if there were things that would be impactful for the passengers who are going to be in the facility, just if we could get a list of what those changes would be, if there are any, and if there aren't.
Yeah, there are no changes that will impact the aesthetic or the way the building will look or act for the
Mhm.
passenger. It really was on other things like that. The plumber came and said, or the electrician, that was a really good example and really good cost savings. Was if you use this type of conduit rather than this one, there's a huge savings associated with it. So it's mostly utilitarian
Infrastructure.
benefits that they were able to.
Yeah. Okay. That's great to know. The Universal Passenger Processing System, is Leidos the vendor that they had selected for that?
No, Leidos would be your TSA stuff.
Leidos is the TSA. Okay. So what was the vendor then for that one?
Yeah, AeroCloud is the vendor.
AeroCloud. Okay. And then is there an opportunity to speak with other airports that have utilized them as a vendor and just see if there are any lessons learned as to what the implementation of that was like, so that we can make that transition smoother?
Absolutely, and they did give us like comparable airports that we can contact, so. we can
Fantastic.
Do that.
That's great.
Let me just, and that one, like the passenger boarding bridges, was a best value, not lowest cost. For the exact reason, we wanted to make sure that it was tried and true, and that we weren't getting just the lowest cost, and then that vendor was not going to be able to support us. So it was a iterative process in choosing them. The first step was that they submitted their proposals, and the second step was there were interviews, and then they weighted the cost against the interviews that were done. And we had staff on the interview panel, as well as professionals from Hensel Phelps that have done this a number of times. So we wanted to make sure on both those components that we weren't just getting the lowest cost bidder on it.
Understood. Okay, and then obviously the infrastructure for the system, Hensel Phelps will be installing and wiring and doing all of that. But when it comes to the actual software implementation, is that you all that will then work with them to have that implemented? Is that post substantial completion?
No, it's
It's a software as a service. So there'll be an ongoing contract with AeroCloud to maintain the software components of the system.
but it will be installed. The initial will be installed as part of this. Just the ongoing support costs that go from day one beyond will be our cost to manage, which we do that today with the system we have. Our FID system that we have today has an ongoing cost to it. So it'll be a transfer of costs. We will no longer use the system we have here.
Mhm.
We'll have a new system in the new building that will
Okay.
have an ongoing support cost that we'll have to pay for. But
Great.
the initial software, all of that comes installed on the equipment day one that Hensel Phelps has put in with the help of AeroCloud.
Fantastic. I was happy to see that the acoustical subcontractor is a local sub out of Castroville, Brady West, and I did reach out to Casey over at the Building and Construction Trades Council and just reviewed the list of the subs, and there were no concerns that they had with any of them, which
Great.
I found great to hear.
Yeah.
And yeah, just want to let you all know.
Good. Thank you. All right. Well, the Finance Committee, as Director Level pointed out, Finance Committee looked at this in detail, and all the questions that I had have been asked and answered. I do want to not jinx us, but how many public projects are on budget these days? So
Why did you say
great work, because now it's just something we can live up to. So great work. Thank you. And yes to Hensel Phelps, but also the staff team that's interacting with them on all of this. Great work. So thank you. All right.
Ready for motion?
I think so.
Okay, I move that we adopt resolution number 1923, a resolution accepting the guaranteed maximum price number 4 from Hensel Phelps Construction for the Safety Enhancement Program, Taxiway A relocation Phase D2 replacement terminal construction.
Second.
All right, we have a first and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Roll call, please.
Director Marty,
Aye.
Director Gagliardi,
Aye.
Director Leffel,
Yes,
Director Miller,
Yes.
and Chair Pick.
Yes, thank you. All right, on to item G4, resolution number 1924, resolution authorizing the expenditure of funds for Simpson Gumpertz and Heger, Inc. for advanced terminal waterproof inspections. Chris?
Yep. So this one came out of one of the things that was changed in the foundations was going from cast in place to a shotcrete system. It gave the contractor schedule certainty when doing that. It was more methodical and easier to do. And it was approved by Hensel Phelps to do it, but by HOK, because it was a change in how they were, a methodology change. But HOK suggested that we as the airport consider this contract with SGH to do an advanced waterproofing inspections, which gives us a 10-year, no dollar limit warranty on the foundations, on the waterproofing components. So there would be zero cost to us if there's anything with leaks. And the reason they did it is shotcrete is a little bit more aggressive methodology for putting in the foundational walls. When you do the cast in place, the truck comes, you have the forms, they pour it in, it sits for days, it cures, it just takes longer. This, they put in the forms, they come, they blast out. If you've ever seen shotcrete put on the concrete, it cures pretty quick, very quickly. And with that blast, you could have hiccups to the waterproofing system. That's behind it. And that's why you do these advanced or these additional inspections. So we had lots of conversations on it, but we felt it was a really small value, small cost for a lot of value. So with that, we recommend resolution 1924.
Thank you. All right, take it out for public comment. No public comment, seeing no public online, we will close public comment, bring it back for questions. We'll start down here, Jonathan, with you this time.
Sure. Are there other vendors, other companies other than SGH that do this type of work? Or that we could have reached out to for a warranty on this work?
We did get a couple quotes. Excuse me, SGH is really they're the ones that did the design. So they are really the ones that you want to be the ones inspecting it.
Mm-hmm.
They designed it for us. They know exactly where all of the waterproofing should be. They know the methodologies. They're watching it. They know how the intrusions and the protrusions are going to happen. So it really makes sense to have them as an extension of their design.
Yeah.
Because they, as a designer and as the architects of record, they already have a requirement to warranty their design. So this is just on, it's really on top of that warranty of the design. We get a no dollar limit warranty instead of just a materials warranty. Materials warranty would not give us, it would cost us if we had any issues. So this is a no dollar limit warranty.
Okay. And so just for my own edification, we are not required to solicit multiple bids for a warranty of this type.
Not necessarily, especially because of the cost as well,
Okay,
too.
perfect. Those were my only questions.
Thank you, ma'am.
So the good news is we won't be like Hoover Dam still curing 30 years from now. Right?
Right?
I was like, so it changes how they apply it. And then it has maybe a little bit higher fail rate, but that we're insuring against that.
Yes.
Would that be accurate?
Yeah, and the fail rate would come with the methodology of the installation, but we wouldn't see it until we have our first rain event.
So-
So we would not know that if the waterproofing was not, if somehow there was a hiccup with it. But with this, we're getting 30 more inspections. They're coming and they're looking at it
While it's
here
being
while it's being
applied.
applied. Exactly. So we're getting more eyes on the foundations, but also the no dollar limit if they do miss something.
Because basically they don't want to have to make this good. They just want to take our money. So as long as they come and inspect it, they feel more comfortable with it. Okay, I'm good with it.
Okay,
I'm sorry, can I just follow up on something Marianne said? The shotcrete is already happening, right? This isn't that the shotcrete is already happening. That's already the process that they're using. That decision is already made, right?
I'm sorry.
That decision is already made that they're using the
That is
shotcrete
the-
process.
that is the
Okay.
process that they're
Thank
using.
you.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
good. John?
Yeah, what happens after 10 years?
It would be another, if you had leaks beyond that, but it wouldn't be caused by the installation at that point.
Okay.
So this is really
If there's going to be a failure, it'll happen.
it'll happen in the first 10 years. for
And then
sure.
what's the remedy if they do find, what's the no cost to us remedy if there's a problem?
If there is one, they
Yeah.
come and they do whatever they need to fix it. So it might be digging out that section, re-waterproofing it, reapplying.
Okay.
So, it could be somewhat intensive.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's going to happen, it's all underneath,
Yeah.
our passenger, it won't be in the passenger experience portion of this building.
Yeah.
Because that's above grade. It would be on the bottom level where it's open for most part, or office space or other things as well. But
Okay.
that's just as a note about this, is that our foundations are all, below grade,
Right.
and there's no passenger movement in those areas.
That was my third and last question was, what does a failure look like? How do we know there's a failure? Is that,
It'll
is
be a
it?
leak,
Okay.
it'd be a water, it means the waterproofing did not work properly.
Okay. All right. No, I totally understand the reasoning behind this. I agree with the reasoning, but I was just curious.
Good. Thanks. Carl? Any
No
questions?
question. No
Okay.
questions.
Thank you, Carl. So again, we looked at this pretty hard in finance and recommended approval. It gives us a no dollar limit, 10-year capability of getting reimbursed for anything that goes wrong with regard to the leaking.
I move that we approve resolution number 1924, resolution authorizing the expenditure of funds for Simpson, Gumpertz, and Hager, Inc. for advanced terminal waterproof inspections.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Any comments? Seeing none, we'll take a roll call vote, please.
Director Marty,
Aye.
Director Gagliardi,
Aye.
Director Leffel,
Yep.
Director Miller,
Yes.
and Chair Pick.
Yes, thank you. On to item G5, resolution number 1925. This is a resolution of Monterey Peninsula Airport District declaring certain property to be surplus and authorizing its disposal.
Our council's going to take this one.
Okay.
So anytime a public agency buys property, once its useful life is done, you have to declare it surplus before you can get rid of it. Unless it's something like, for example, like a pencil where, you sharpen it and you wear it all the way down. It's just gone at the end of its useful life. In this instance, this is a request to declare what was the backup ARF truck, to declare it surplus. It has been flushed and cleaned and sanitized, so to speak, to remove any of the PFAS material that may be there. We just took delivery. The airport just took delivery of the new ARF truck that has never had PFAS in it, nor will it have PFAS in it. And that's so. What was your primary ARF vehicle is now your backup ARF vehicle. And remember, you must have an ARF vehicle functioning and on site to have commercial service. If you only had one vehicle and it went down, you'd have to cancel all of your flights. Because again, for commercial service, you have to have them. So this is a request to declare it surplus. We will, of course, maximize whatever value we can get out of it. There are a couple of procedures we have to go through to sell it. I've drafted a purchase and sale agreement that includes that the purchaser will take it as is, where it is, with all known conditions. We are disclosing, of course, that there was PFAS in it before. They are accepting the risk of that, and they will agree to defend and indemnify us in case they have any claims from someone down the line that wants to make an issue about the PFAS that was in it at some point from the time that we sell it and beyond. You obviously you own it up to this point, but once you sell it, you don't want anything in the future coming back to you.
Right.
And there are several provisions in there that make that really explicit. So I'm happy to answer any questions. Otherwise, we request approval of the resolution to declare this property surplus and allow the executive director to dispose of it in the most cost-effective manner.
Very good. Thank you. Public comment. Thank you, sir. Making this easy. No public online. We'll close public comment and bring it back to the board. Questions?
So this is the one we bought with our own funds, isn't it? So that gives us complete control over how it's disposed of. And when we bought this one, I think we were pretty desperate because one of ours had gone down and we needed, and I think didn't we pay Salinas like $50,000 or something?
San Jose.
How much?
We
San
paid
Jose.
San Jose.
So we were renting one from San Jose, which is pretty costly until we found this one. So a question I have is, if this were to be taken by someone who is fairly in our region, could we also put a little clause in that we might be able to lease it back in case we need to on short term if it was agreeable to everybody.
If it's amenable to them, yes, we can.
Because it just I mean, we had to scramble and look kind of far and wide last time to find one to get it in here so that we wouldn't have to shut the airport down and not have an ARP truck, 'cause not everybody's got one. So it's just an idea of maybe put a little thing in there that if practicable and blah, 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 that we could borrow it back.
Sure.
So, but yeah, I think this is really good, and we've had long enough now with the new one to make sure it's working and everybody knows how to run it, and so, yeah, I'm good.
Jonathan?
What's the value, approximate value of the vehicle at this time?
So that's really getting out of my territory, but I can tell you, I do representing a number of airports. I can tell you the value really depends on the condition of it and how likely is it to break down. But I don't know.
We found some comps throughout the country, nothing in our region. So I think we are safe to base our fair market value on that. We'll continue to look to see if we can find other comps, but we have one,
And
45.
45,000? Are there other airports in the region that are interested that we know of?
We haven't
Or-
gotten that far yet.
We haven't got that far. Should the board pass this, at that point, when staff make a decision as to how to dispose of the vehicle, whether it's through sale or whatever, is that something that has to come back, or once we pass this, then it's,
Yeah, the resolution actually authorizes the executive director to dispose of it and to just take care of it. There are a couple of procedural hoops we have to jump through. We do have to offer it to other public agencies in the region first, and the count for, you sort of go in concentric circles, right? You do have to offer it to other public agencies. Now that means they would have to pay our price for it. But there are some what I'll call procedural requirements, but nothing really onerous. And there are some agencies that will, they'll list it on some of the, what was is it Gov?
Gov Deals.
Gov Deals, that's it, Gov Deals. There's a website, govdeals.com. You know, and sometimes I have some agencies that will just list everything there. And how they comply with you must offer it to your locals first, is they'll say, hey, if anybody wants to go look, it's on Gov Deals. And they'll of course pull it down if a local agency says, yeah, we want it. I'm not suggesting you should or shouldn't do that. I'm just saying there are some that do that. But there are ways to dispose of public property where you can really maximize and Gov Deals, the website is one of them.
Get your phone ready.
All right. Just on a somewhat similar on that whole public, I'm glad you said that. And because that's what I was going to ask, is that, I mean, we have quite a few fire districts that we just went and met, and they're all within this area. They all seem to be understaffed and overworked. But I guess the question is that does this apparatus that we have serve kind of, I guess, wildland? I mean, that's the kind of most of the fire districts around here are fighting wildland fires. And
Yeah, so it may be able to, but what I would suggest is that again, we can notify all of the local agencies, and they can determine operationally whether it would work for them, or whether it may be modified in some way where it would be cost effective for them to buy it, modify some of the nozzles and stuff that they need. I know these are designed particularly to utilize the foam.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you know, it likely would need some modification if they were going to use it for like wildfires, but
It's up to them.
Yeah.
it's up to them. And
Okay. No, I mean, you answered my question, and I'm glad that we get to kind of tell the local region, just because in our little walking around meeting all these fire districts, they're clamoring for equipment, people, training, money. Okay,
it would
thank
not
you.
surprise me to see someone local.
Take it.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Carl?
No
Okay.
question.
Thank you. I have no questions either. Asked and answered. So
I move that we adopt resolution 1925, a resolution of the Monterey Peninsula Airport District declaring certain property to be surplus and authorizing disposal thereof.
Second?
okay, first and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Director Marty,
Aye.
Director Gagliardi,
Aye.
Director Leffel,
Yes.
Director Miller,
Yes.
and Chair Pick.
And yes, thank you. Item G6, Amendment 1A to the Professional Service Agreement for Auto Construction for Design Builds for the Rental Car Ready Return Lot and Facility.
So, following on somewhat to what we talked about earlier with the GMP for Hensel Phelps, we have had contact and we've been having communications with the tenants that are going into the building, as I alluded to with the airlines, also with the rental cars. And we had a number of meetings with them during design, and they gave us some parameters of what they would like to see in the building. Now that we're getting closer to that time, and we started looking at providing, and this is the contract you had offered or approved before, a ready return lot, a place to have rental cars available next to the building, which will be over here in what is now where the electric vehicle charging station vehicles are and beyond. So that would be what we identified as a ready return lot. They won't lose what they have over here, but something immediate and close to the building. They've asked us to consider, the rental car agencies have come back and said they really don't want that smaller space in the building. They feel like it doesn't really serve them as well as they would like. So they've asked us to consider, and this is with CFCs, which we've increased the CFC number that we're collecting per car, to look at putting a rack, a rental car facility in the lot as well. They need up to about 4,000 square feet is what they've told us. So Otto, as a design build, has brought on a team that's helping us look at that. So it would be somewhat of a prefab type of facility, permanent, nice looking, similar to the structure of how we did our building, that type of a nice looking, but small, 4,000 square foot facility that will fit all of the rental cars in. So with that, I would say in the Hensel Phelps GMP, it has them building out those office space
Right.
and all of those counters. So we will see a reduction in cost
I was
at
gonna
some
ask.
point when we pull the trigger on this
Right.
for the facilities that we were going to build in the building. So Hensel Phelps will be giving us another deduct here at some point. So with that, I ask you to consider the additional cost to Otto. So again, we already had cost identified. They hadn't spent it all yet. So this is an additional $378,880 to the contract that we have with them to be able to design not only now the ready return lot, but also the building that will act as the rental car facility, combined rental car facility for all the rental cars.
Great. Thank you, Chris. All right. Public comment on this matter. Sir, good. No one online. We'll close public comment. Bring it back here. John, you want to start us off?
Yeah, I just had, just aesthetically, I mean, we're putting so much into what we're doing here. I mean, that would be really, really important that all works.
Mhm.
And I'm guessing that that's also high in this design.
For sure.
Will we get to see it? Will we get to see
We don't have any renderings yet.
no, but I'm just saying, does the board at all get to have any say in that, or is it, I mean, it's already down the,
They haven't designed it yet.
Yeah,
No,
right.
That's what you're going to approve and work on. You can see, on the back side, the last page, this is something that the rental cars have provided us.
Yeah.
This is how we got the 4,000 square feet. This
Yeah,
is
yeah.
how they said it could work. This is something they'd be very comfortable with. So they have design teams, that did the initial for us.
Yeah.
So now Otto will take this, and they're working with a local company that does these modular buildings. They do a lot of them for ag, that will help design something that aesthetically matches, that has a really nice look to it,
Yeah.
that will fit with the look that we are doing with the building. So we'll come back with that, but first they need to have a contract to design it.
I'm 100% agreeing with all of that. I just think, is it what you said, I think is that's what I'm looking for, is that we do get to kind of,
We'll show you what
know,
it looks like. Yep.
okay.
Because you'll have to approve us going out, getting a cost and so on.
Yeah.
So.
All right. And what are we gonna do with the extra space in the building then, in the terminal?
We are going, one thing that we haven't done anything yet because we haven't told
Sure,
what's Hensel
sure.
Phelps. This is completely, they know we've had these conversations and they know that there's that possibility. So at the moment, the thinking is that we will continue the terrazzo because the terrazzo would have stopped where the rental car counters started.
Mhm.
So we will finish out the space like the rest of the baggage claim area will look. So
Yeah.
finish out the terrazzo and do the walls, make sure there's data available there, and then we'll figure out where we go next. But we also are going to add a closet in there because we're really short on closet space everywhere. So we figure we can tuck a closet behind the baggage, the oversized baggage thing.
Yeah.
It was going to be a counter tucked in there. So we are going to grab about an 8 by 10 foot space for some closet, from storage space, whether it's custodial supplies or other things that we need, because we really don't have tons of it over there.
Okay.
But then the rest will be to be determined.
All right. Okay. All right. I mean, I like the idea.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Carl, questions?
Yeah, just one. Chris, are we maxed out when this thing is built, or will we have room for an additional company should they approach us?
Good question. Not sure. I think we would have to look at that and see. I mean, I know that it's pretty much at the moment designed with the space that they say they need, the current car facility consortium say they need, because there are, multiple groups, like multiple brands under one parent company. But I'm not sure, Carl.
If it doesn't greatly increase the cost, we should probably consider that. Knowing companies, they would probably not want that in there.
Yeah, we'll look. I mean, space is definitely premium too. We're not even, they said they'd love 4,000. They could do a little bit less, but getting space, the building and parking cars in all of that area. It's a little bit tight, but we can look and see what the max building size we can do.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thanks, Carl. Marianne.
So along that, I think we talked in finance if Sixt came in or somebody like that we could still have counter space in the building if we needed to, if there's not room to put them out here. So I think there is a workaround since we have space already allocated for car rentals in baggage claim.
That is correct.
It might work. Anyway, I think it's exciting because honestly, I think it'll make it less confusing to the passengers when they're bringing cars back and when they're doing things, as opposed to the way it is now. And if you come in and it's really late, it's hard. It's hard to figure out how you're bringing a car back. And I like it. I'm very happy that they're asking for this. I think it takes us to the next level, which the whole terminal does, but
Yeah.
this kind of completes that. So, thank you.
Jonathan?
Yeah, so I just had a couple quick questions on the conceptual site plan. Was actually, the print didn't come out very well, so it's hard to make out kind of where this would be in the grand scheme of the actual. Can you just
It's the
walk me through this?
So the building would be the yellow block. That's right there.
So that yellow block is the 4,000 square foot, and the terminal is up here.
So the walkway is here. The terminal is right to the edge of this green area, to the right of that green.
So the terminal is up here.
Yeah, you want to look at it this way. So if you're looking at it flat out this way, yep. Runway's over here. Terminal is right here next to the green space. Right here.
Running
Running
up,
this-
down.
Running this way. Terminal's going all the way out over here.
My phone's a terminal.
So,
Yeah, okay.
yep, terminal's over here. So you can
Got
see
it.
there's a small walkways. The walkway will be from the terminal right over here to the building.
Okay.
And then the drive lanes and the blue are where the ready return cars will be. And then you keep going past this blue that's over here on the left of your page. That way,
And that's where the
You're on the-
existing is.
the existing buildings over, but there's still the deck parking right here where you probably parked when you came in tonight. So there's there's two treatments out there in the parking lot when you go out. If you walk out, you'll see
Yeah.
there's the deck area, which is actually above baggage handling right now.
Mm,
And then you go to the asphalt. So they would not be going into the deck area for ready return. We'd still have parking directly right next to the building. That would not be ready return. We still have parking available.
So when you
But-
come in the gate to short term and you turn right, starting there by the electrical vehicle charging, that's where it starts
Right
moving.
and left. No, there's some to the left of it too. So
There's some to the left.
Yeah, there's going to be some
And how far?
up until where the asphalt ends.
Okay,
over
so
there.
when you're walking, you know you hit the,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah,
the
there's
crack.
the crack, the crack in the road
Right.
that we just fixed.
Okay,
So, and this will all, what we're, and this is for Otto to figure out, they have Whitson on there as their engineers, to figure out where do you enter, where will they enter, where will they exit?
Yep.
So that's what they're working on. Our thinking is everyone will enter here and then the rental cars will exit over here next to the building is what we think. But they have to work that out from a traffic engineering perspective. So they're looking at that flow and see how it works.
So then this amendment that we are considering is for $201,000 for Auto to design this yellow building block here. And it's going to look somewhat like this, but not exactly this.
Yes, well, it's an additional 307. Yes. Let me look at it. So we have a contract for 201,600.
And
This will be additional fees of 378,880 for a
Right.
total contract. So we already have a contract in place for them. So the initial was just for parking. We're adding in the terminal and in the building. So that is the additional 378.
And the total's 580.
Correct.
And the total is now 580
Mhm.
if we approve this.
Correct.
So, and just kind of wrapping my head around this, there were initial discussions with the rental car companies where they were going to have space in the terminal. Now they're asking for this building instead, which we're going to pay for exclusively with the
CFCs.
CFC fees.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And that was identified in the CFCs initially, that, at
As
least.
for the reason that we were looking to increase those fees.
Yep.
Okay. So I have 2 points. First of all, I think it does take us to the next level. I think that's great. I want to echo what Director Gagliardi said about the importance of the aesthetic
Mhm.
seamlessness. We're doing so well, and we're so thrilled about what the terminal is going to look like. To have this look like the firehouse across the street here would be unfortunate.
No, I'm saying the firehouse across the way over there.
Yeah, right,
Yeah,
right.
that's what
I knew what you meant, but I just wanted to point that one out.
He's aimed a little higher.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Absolutely not like that.
Yeah. And then the second point is as it relates to the overall project here, which is flow related as well as the building design. Having just negotiated Miami International Airport, which got totally different scale, got that. It was the most unintuitive experience I have ever had in my life returning a rental car. It was insane. I drove right in, I kept looking for rental car return signs, none to be seen. So I roll into departures, roll through the garage, roll through departures, and then once I'm in departures, we stopped, put in the rental car center specifically in our nav, and went out, and it was a mile and a half away. It's crazy. The signage was horrible.
I'm
Horrible.
finding that a lot with travels lately.
Yeah. So good luck to our consultant in a good design, intuitive flow. That's all I have.
Okay, I move amendment 1A to the professional services agreement with Auto Construction for design build for the rental car ready return lot and facility.
Second.
Second by Carl.
Okay,
Yeah,
let's
good.
go with
Yeah, go
Carl
Carl.
for a second.
Mr. Puerto Rico for staying awake.
Right? Or just credit for calling in. All right, first and second, any discussion of the motion? No questions? Roll call, please.
Director Amati,
Aye.
Director Gagliardi,
Aye.
Director Leffel,
Yes.
Director Miller,
Yes.
and Chair Pick.
Yes, thank you. Item G7, lease extension letter for Woody's at the airport.
So in trying to work through and talking with Tim Wood and looking back through communications that he had with Mike Lapierre, there was discussion about an extension because his lease had been expiring, but we can't find anything that was signed.
Yeah.
So Tim seems to think he did. He said, I think I remember Mike bringing something down and I signed it, but he doesn't have a copy of it and we don't have a copy of it. So we need to codify it.
Right.
And that's what you have in front of you is a request for a lease extension. So it will be to provide him, I mean, nothing's changed. We've been doing business as usual. It's
Yeah.
just typically when they expire, we go month to month. But also in this communication that we had and that they had together, Mike and Tim, there was the right of first refusal to be able to have the concession space, the food and beverage space in the new terminal, because he will lose that ability here under the cockpit, because he has a cockpit, he has the secure side. So we want to make sure that that gets into this extension. And then, this is somewhat short-term until we get to defining base building, which we're close on. What are we providing for the food and beverage in the new building, and what will he have to come in and put in as a food and beverage provider? So of course he'll have to put in all the kitchen equipment and all of the things that he needs in there. So we're working through that, but in the meantime, this is just really a short-term extension to make sure we have that on paper. And then we will come back with a full new lease here in the near future that will be different, because this is only just to give him that right of first refusal.
Right. To codify it.
Right, exactly.
Correct.
Thank you. Sir, nope. Okay, opening it to public comment. No public comment in the room, no public online. We will close public comment, bring it back in, and you want to start us off?
Sure. No, I feel bad. We're all kind of sitting out there in limbo saying, yeah, he's got a first right of refusal. And all he had was a couple of emails saying, yeah, no problem. So, I think this puts us all in a legal position that is much safer for us and for him. So thank you.
And I did forget to say that Tim did look at this and he was fine with it. So.
Good.
And I will confirm, I was copied on some of, not all of them, but on many of those emails back and forth between the former executive director and Tim, and these terms were what they were talking about.
Yeah.
And
Good.
So there is some-
Consistency.
this is not just a, hey, I really had this. No, I saw the emails where they agreed on certain terms but I was never copied on whatever was apparently signed or.
Thank you. Jonathan?
No questions or comments. We discussed this in lease and recommended approval by the full board.
Thank you, sir.
No, I totally agree. I do have one question. Is that what is the reasonable time frame we might see that new lease? When is that?
You say
The
reasonable
clean, the clean lease, assuming that,
So we need to have some, so there's gonna be two leases.
Yeah.
One will be for what
Here.
remains here, and
Yeah.
then one will be for the new building. Because he's expressed a desire and a need to do both, right?
yeah,
So I can have them literally within a matter of a few days. I actually have a draft that I've been working on. We're just waiting for some of the specifics to be inserted
okay,
relative to, as Chris mentioned, what we're going to provide, what he would provide, and we'll have to agree on how it gets funded and what the terms are, and and all of that. So those things will necessarily need to be included, but we've got to figure out what those are first.
okay.
But I do have a pretty good draft.
That's, I mean, just me personally, that this has always been just almost there. It's almost been asymptotic and so, the sooner we can finally get to that, I think the more comfortable, just because I see Tim all the time. And before he used to ask us directly, hey, where's my lease? Where's my lease?
But remember, he needed to give us something to work
Oh, I
with
know.
too. So, which he's done.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's just taken a bit. He's actually brought someone on board that has been helping him really conceptualize or put on paper his vision.
Yeah, right.
And give
which
us
is- we
something
needed
that we could then work with the architects to say, okay, this is his vision. How much power, is the power there?
Yep,
Are the floor drains there?
yep.
Is the hood vent there? So that just, took a bit and we got that. And so we've really been going a lot of back and forth, but we're really close.
This is, I mean, to me, great news, it's just taken a while. Okay, nothing, that's it.
Thank you. Carl?
Yeah, I agree. This is great news. Thank you for putting it together. It looks great. I do have a question on the retail store that we have down there. Do they have a right of first refusal going into the new building?
No, she's told us that she will be retiring once this building is done. So-
Okay. Well, that's good. Thank you. Not that I'm not celebrating her retirement. Well, yes, I am. Yes, I'm happy she's retiring. Forgive me, it's a lot later here, and I've been on an airplane all day. So
Thanks, Carl. Yeah, I think this is an important step with our very, very, very good restaurateur. We're lucky to have him and this great work staff to put this on paper and get it codified. And it sounds like we're making progress on the follow-on leases as well. So, as Jonathan said, we discussed this in lease and it's tight. So,
Okay, I move that we approve the lease extension agreement with Woody's at the airport.
Second.
first and a second, any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Director Marty,
Aye.
Director Gagliardi,
Aye.
Director Leffel,
Yes,
Director Miller,
yes,
Chair Pick.
Yes, thank you. All right, that concludes our regular agenda items for the evening. On to board reports and acceptance of department reports. So we had the minutes in the packet for finance and air service. Any questions or comments to add to those? Go ahead.
I did have a quick question.
Sure.
On the finance report under operating expenses on page 4, there was a variance of 35,000 for salaries and employee taxes, and then a variance of 51,000 for marketing and PR. Would you just be able to speak to those? And I don't know if Mark wants to take it or Chris.
Off the top of my head, I assume that the variance on salaries is a positive variance, correct?
Correct. They're both positive.
Right. So we currently still have 2 open positions that were budgeted, which have not been filled. The assistant controller position, and then basically the DED position that the executive director transitioned out of. So that's giving us our positive variance.
On that open position, is there a timeline we think that it will be?
We are
Well,
trying.
Okay.
We have a closed session.
Oh, fantastic.
And on marketing, it's really timing.
So those are dollars that we anticipate spending at some point. It just didn't fit into the window. That's what I assumed, but
Correct.
just wanted to ask, and then just looking through. So, Chris, on your executive director operations report, we had a decrease of 13% of flights and seat capacity down 21%. Is that something that was just a blip? Is this a trend? What are your thoughts?
Well, Chris, you can back me up here. We did see a departure of American's Dallas service for a while in January. If you recall, Dallas served us with a 737. For the foreseeable future, they'll be serving us with an E-175. So that is one of the declines that you'll see there.
And it's 5 days a week at the moment as well, too. So it's not flying on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So that's another portion of the decline.
So that is something then that we anticipate going forward will still be the case.
Correct.
Until May.
Until, yeah, I was going to say, we looked out in the future. We do see it returning in May.
Okay. And then the only other question that I had was just on the police report, there was somebody burying items near the fence line and nothing turned up when we investigated.
There was nothing that was directly at the fence line. I think they noted in the report that it was more on the Portuguese Hall property where they could see that the ground was disturbed,
Okay,
but nothing at the fence line proper.
okay.
Kids.
Sure.
Crazy Portuguese.
That's all I got. Dino.
Thank you.
Dino also has limited sleep.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so on to ad hoc committee reports.
I had one question.
Go ahead.
And I saw that we got all of our solar. It looks like we got it all totally back in line and working. So is there a way to verify that it's all working, or will we just see it?
Output,
Well, you can see it from the
Yeah.
chart.
output.
So
Yes.
this is
The
all.
output
good.
chart is showing you that it's back up to where it should be.
Okay.
That's-
I also had a question on the Portuguese
that's-
Hall. I'm like, did we go over there and dig around too? And I saw, and I think it's really, really good. I will say the report on cancellations and
Yes.
late, it was remarkable this period. So that was really good. Obviously, we had a good run of weather,
Mhm.
which certainly helped.
Yep.
And I guess it probably helped that we had a couple of flights that weren't flying, but all over that was just very good. So thank you.
I had one comment on Deputy Executive Director Robert's. She did a phenomenal presentation in air service on,
Nice.
yeah, and I was very happy with it. So
Thank you. All right. Carl, any questions?
No, I don't.
Okay, nor do I. Ad hoc committee reports, local jurisdiction liaison.
I think the only thing we had to report is that Delray Oaks is extremely happy that we got the lot cleared and that we are going to get on the rest of it, I believe in May, correct?
April-ish?
April-ish, so good. So anyway,
Thank you, thank you.
they're very happy and Dino and I are happy not to have those calls, so. That's a very good thing. And I know that, Chris, you're doing a presentation, Delray Oaks, April,
The end of April, at their April meeting, correct.
for the city council, so that will be good.
yeah, I'll be there.
So,
Good. Okay, on to LAFCO.
so LAFCO, was Monday, and two things. I sat on the personnel committee and we were with the consultant this afternoon. There were 23 applicants for the executive director position. And the consultant narrowed it to 10. And this afternoon we narrowed it to 6. So we will start interviews on the 13th of the month. And we'll interview as a full commission. We'll interview 6 people
Great.
and see what we get. So,
You have better.
Are they local? Are they local?
a couple are,
Good.
Yeah. couple are. And also then the public member, first of all, the alternate is out for a vote until April 20th. And so the districts are all voting. And then on top of that, the public member that is appointed, voted on by the commission, was moved from this meeting to the April meeting. So we'll see what happens in April on that.
Sure.
And there were 5 candidates. One withdrew on Monday afternoon. And so there are 4 remaining for the regular and the alternate. So,
The regular and alternate public seat.
yeah. And we vote on those together. We vote on first the regular and then the alternate.
Is it the same process where to be the alternate, you have to be
Yeah.
a candidate for the primary?
So anyway, so that's it. And everything else was pretty cut and dried. The best news for our district is that the budget this year is going to be 0.08 increase. So we've held it for the last few years at around 3%. And this year, what we did is we eliminated a staff position, and our 2 analysts have taken on some of the clerical duties. And so anyway, we're at 0.08.
That's great news.
Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah, as
News.
opposed to three.
Right.
Yeah, that's.
So that's my LAFCO report.
Thank you. Regional Taxi Authority.
No meeting. The upcoming meeting is July 13th, so no meeting for some time.
Okay, thank you, sir. TAMC, I attended the TAMC meeting earlier this week. The two highlights are that TAMC continues to look for office space. They're moving out of their lease is expiring where they currently are. The other item of note on their agenda is that bears on us is the Highway 68 corridor roundabout project. They have decided to take a hard look at signalization using artificial intelligence to assist in the timing of the lights as a potential alternative to the roundabouts. And they're going to spend months looking at that and gathering data before they come back to the board with their findings, which I think is going to be interesting.
Yeah, I have a question on that.
Yeah.
Didn't they already do that? Exactly that?
They apparently not. They looked at whatever they looked at with regard to signalization was insufficient to what they are now looking at. And that it seems to me it might sort of very basic understanding of it is that they're now applying some technology that they didn't have then or didn't consider then. And so we'll see. And I think they're also taking into account the public comment and other sentiment they've gotten regarding the roundabouts. So they're taking a look at it.
Positive or negative towards the roundabout?
Well, I think negative.
Very
Always
negative.
negative ones.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is too bad, but
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
depending on where you shake out on that night.
Yeah.
But, okay, so that's the TAMC report, special districts.
We meet on April the 12th, I believe it is. It's just,
That's the next one.
Yeah.
Thank you. MBAG. Did you mention-
I did do AMBAG.
Thank you.
And it was, I'm going to say their microphone system is horrid.
Huh.
And I've complained 3 times now. So this time I actually called Richard Stedman at the Air Resources Board because it's his conference room and just said, you know what, you have to fix it because it's impossible. When you can barely hear. What they have is they have one microphone for 3 people. And sometimes the people start talking and the microphone is down at the third person this way and somebody's trying to talk this way. That's an issue. But the biggest problem is the microphone that is at their podium. When their staff is giving reports, you cannot hear it. It just crackles and goes in and out, in and out. And I thought it was just me, but I put it in the chat and then everybody was like, yeah, I can't hear either. So it's very, very difficult. But they had a long report, like a half an hour that you could barely hear on energy. And it wasn't anything that really pertained to us, but it was just, I can't even, it was like torture.
Couldn't hear it.
So I don't know what else to do, except I think next time, whichever one is going to be there, we're going to have to just go.
One person.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they are doing a series of housing planners for city planners. They're doing a whole series of training for the housing numbers. And so they're starting that and they're looking at their 2050 plan. So they're out there on that. They've already had community meetings on it and we'll see. I did talk to Chris a little bit about once they get a little further into it, that maybe we could invite Heather Adamson to come and actually just bring us up to date on what's going. Because obviously housing impacts us. If we have more rooftops, we have more potential riders. So anyway, that's it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can I just ask a quick question? Special districts, I actually have the next quarterly meeting as Tuesday, the 21st, the third Tuesday of the month.
It's the third Tuesday.
It's the third,
April-
okay,
yeah,
April
April-
21st it is
yeah.
then.
Thank you. Okay. Board member reports on conferences and events attended by Monterey Peninsula Airport District expense, if any, as approved by the board. I know that we have the Lift Summit coming up next week as a forward-looking. Any reports on anything that's happened since we last met?
Haven't been to any.
Okay. I think that Lift Summit's
And I just,
fascinating.
since you brought that up,
Yeah.
and you're going to the reception.
Mhm.
You're
Yes.
at the reception, John's at the reception, and Carl's gone, and I'm at the reception. So, okay, just making sure. Okay.
Okay. All right. And pending requests for future agenda items, we see AMBAG presentation on the 2050 municipal transportation plan. Excuse me?
Closed session. You have your amended agenda.
I do not have my amended agenda. Actually, I do have my amended agenda. The question is, am I looking at it? Just, let me catch up.
Closed session.
Closed session. Very good. So we'll be adjourning to closed session. Public comment on closed session? Do we do that?
Yeah.
How do-
If someone would like to comment.
Yeah. So this is a employment matter that we'll be discussing in closed session. Okay. Have a great night. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
All right. So we are adjourned to closed session.
But some people. Kind of.
All right.
You can take.
Ready to go? All right, well, we're reconvened in open session at 7:38. Scott, would you like to report any
Certainly.
reportable action?
Certainly, in closed session, there was no reportable action taken. Direction was given.
Thank you. All right,
We're adjourned.
we are adjourned. 7:38.